Okay. Example 2. Global Attitude Survey asked random samples of adults in various countries about their views on the U.S. Among other issues, respondents were asked if U.S. entertainment, including music, movies, and television, is the best compared with other developed nations. Of the 1,014 Japanese adults surveyed, 33% agreed U.S. had the best entertainment, compared to 30% of the 1,003 Italian adults surveyed. Do the results of the study give convincing evidence of a difference in the proportions of Japanese and Italian adults who think the U.S. has the best entertainment? Interpret the p-value from part A. That sounds familiar. We're going to do this short and sweet, so I'm not going to fill out all 4 boxes because some of this we're very familiar with. So I'm not going to do the state by writing it all out, but I am going to go through that problem in color code. So first, what proportions am I looking for? Oh, Raleigh. Very good. Perfect. Perfect. So 2 groups, Japanese and Italian. We're looking at the proportion of those groups who think U.S. has best entertainment. Perfect. So P1 is Japanese and P2 is Italian because that's the order they gave it to us in the problem. And I'm lazy. Very good. They gave us some other information in that problem that I need to start circling. So 1,014, what is that? That's a proportion? That's a sample size. Remember, proportions are always numbers between 0 and 1. That's my sample size. So that's N1, sample size 1, good. I do spy a percentage that follows that. That's a proportion. Is that a sample proportion or a population proportion? Sample, good, because it followed the sample size. So that's P hat 1, perfect. And we keep reading, we get a 30% of 13 or 1,003 Italian. So I suspect that's P hat 2 and N2. Are we okay with that? We're getting yes, good. And I spy one itty bitty teeny weeny problem. What am I usually given in these questions that I am not given here? Close. Significance level, yeah. Confidence level is confidence intervals, but related idea, yeah. They didn't give us a significance level. So for confidence levels, if they don't tell us, we assume 95. That's the most common. Here we assume the complement, 5% or 0.05. So we are going to make a couple of notes in that state box. First, we're going to assume, if I could write today, that alpha is 0.05 because they didn't give us a significance level. We're going to choose one. There are some things that I need to calculate. Yes, Arali. Very good. I need that pooled proportion. So I'm going to scoot you up a little bit. We know that the pooled proportion, P hat C, is X1 plus X2 over N1 plus N2. Do I have the number of Italians who thought that the U.S. had the best media? I see people shaking their head no. We do have a proportion, yeah? So we said 33% of Italians. So I can figure out X1 by doing N1 times P hat 1. So there were how many Italians again? Not Italians, Japanese. One is Japanese. Oh my gosh, bad Mr. J. How many Japanese? 10, 42? 14. 14, and it was 33%? 335, that's perfect. And then x2 would be n2 p hat 2, so that was 1003 and 0.3. 301. Perfect. Thank you, Arali. So we come back down here. PC is going to be 335 plus 301 divided by 1014 plus 1003. Reminders if you are doing that on your calculator, parentheses around the top, parentheses around the bottom. Somebody other than a Raleigh have a number for me. I don't want you to have to do all the work today. We have slow calculator typers. What'd you get, Caleb? 0.315? Which sits between 0.3 and 0.33. So I'm happy with that answer. Yeah, good. Perfect. Yay. There's one more thing I should do in this box that I didn't really leave myself room for, so I'm going to have to scooch into the plan box. What is that? Hypotheses. Very good. This is a hypothesis test. I mean by hypotheses. And I know that for any test of two proportions, I can start with that. And the only thing I really need to figure out is the inequality in my alternative. So I need some keywords in the question that help me sort it out. So I'm going to read A again. Do the results of this study give convincing evidence of a difference in the proportions of Japanese and Italian adults who think the US has best entertainment? The keyword is in there somewhere. Which keyword are we looking at? A difference. Very good. Difference could be less than or greater than. Could be either direction. Just that, very good. They don't equal. Perfect. Very good. So this is a two-tailed test. Very good. Very good. Okay, so all of that was our state. We're just going to do the plan super quick. I'm not going to show all the math. We're just going to demonstrate because we know what we should check. We should check random. Did they tell us random in the question? Thank you. So random samples of adults, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, perfect. Last two checks. Independent. Third check, normal. Independent, I'm checking that 1014 is less than or equal to 10% of all Japanese adults. And 1003 is less than 10% of all Italian adults. I see some nodding. Good. Independence is a 10% condition. How do I check for normality? Large counts, large counts, large counts. Very good. We're not going to check it here. I'm just going to write large counts because you know how to do that, yes? Again, I know how to spell, don't judge me. N1 times PC, N2 times PC, N1 times QC, N2 times QC. I have to check both, and I'm using that pooled proportion. Good. We know how to do that. We're tired of doing that. We want to do the do. Two things I have to calculate, Carolina. One of the things I'm going to calculate for my hypothesis test. Two pieces. P-value. I need a p-value. Very good. Brody, can you help her? What do I need before my p-value? The z, the test statistic. Yes. I see some nodding. Good. The z is what I'm going to write the formula for. And then we know where the p-value comes from. They're going to assume we took our z-score to a table and looked it up. So z equals sample statistic. We're looking at a difference in proportions, so difference in sample proportions, minus, and I'm writing it here where I didn't yesterday, just to be really clear, but this is technically what, come on, pen, what we're doing here, right? Minus population parameter divided by standard error. P hat C, Q hat C, 1 over N1 plus 1 over N2. Before I plug in other numbers, what do I know about P1 minus P2? It's 0. Very good, because that's our assumption in the null. I am assuming that the populations are equal. And we are calculating our z-score and building our sampling distribution, assuming that that is true. Good. The rest of those numbers we have. So z equals, big fraction, P1, P hat 1 was 0.33, P1 was 0.3, or P hat 2 was 0.3. Can't talk this morning. In the denominator, P hat C was 315. Q hat C would be 0.685. I see nodding, good. 685 times, and then 1 over 1014 plus 1 over 1003. And the more we practice, the faster we get at writing that. And if you were a sad human being like myself, you would plug that in your calculator as it sits and you get a number. We're not going to do that. Which calculator function do I want? 2 prop z test. 2 prop z test. Very good. I'm going to give you a second to run 2 prop z test. Could you give me one more decimal place on that? 143? Perfect. Thank you, Jeanette. I get a thumbs up if you also got that. Get a couple thumbs up. Very good. Very good, very good. I probably should do one more thing, which is I know I draw that normal curve. I'm going to do that here because there is an interesting change for this question that I don't know we've seen before. So, our little ghost friend. 3 standard deviations out in either direction. We know the first thing we should mark is our test statistic, our z-value. So 1.46, about halfway between 1 and 2. to figure out which way we would shade. And normally we do that by going and looking at the inequality in our alternative. It's not an arrow this time. What that means is I have to look at both tails, meaning I need to take this tail and flip it to this side, meaning there should be another line between -1 and -2 that represents negative z and that mirror. Those two areas in red together are that number here. So it's this section plus this section that give you the 0.143. Because when we're doing a test of difference, difference could be either direction. I have to look at both tails. I don't have to do anything to the number in my calculator. My calculator knows to do that when I tell it it's a not equal to alternative, but I have to remember to draw the picture. What could I do on my calculator to help remind me of that? Draw, yeah. Select draw instead of calculate, because the draw will draw the picture and show you where those areas are. So you have a calculator function that will draw that picture for you that you can then just copy on your paper if you get stressed on test day. Yeah? Good. What comes last? Our sentences. We have sentence frames for them. I am going to ask about our decision. What was our level of significance? You're thinking critical values. Go back up. 0.5, 0.5. And the question is our p-value smaller than our alpha or bigger than our alpha? Bigger, yeah. P-value is bigger than alpha because p-value is 143, alpha is 0.5. And we compare them starting at the decimal point place by place. I've got a 1 in the 10th place for the p-value. I've got a 0 in the 10th place for the alpha. P-value is bigger. If p-value is low, I reject HO. What should I do here? Fail to reject. Yeah, because it's not low. Good. So we don't have enough evidence to support a difference in the proportions between Japanese adults and Italian adults who prefer US media. 30 and 33 are just too close together in terms of what those sampling distribution looks like. Good. Good. Reminders before I pass out your study guide. On test day, 15 multiple choice. You don't have to do all that work on the multiple choice. Please don't do all of that work on the multiple choice, right? Answer the exact question that was asked using your calculator. You're not showing work, right? You'll have scratch paper, but I'm not going to grade it. The only one that you need to do the whole state plan do conclude process for is the free response. Yeah? You have one free response and you have an entire class period to do it. So plenty of time to go through the whole state plan do and conclude on Monday. Yeah? Okay. Questions on significance tests for two proportions?